I think we hear the word 21st century skills a lot these days, and I think it's become a bit of a soundbite, so it's something that I'm wary of. I think in terms of the general capabilities that's in the Australian curriculum, ethical responsibility, I think that is the 21st century skill. I think developing compassion and empathy in our students is our primary responsibility. And in order to do that, some of those other sort of deemed 21st century skills, those things actually enable our students to become more empathetic and more compassionate human beings, and then actually be empowered to change the world. So I think 21st century skills, they actually enhance our kids' potential to be better humans. My name's Bianca Hughes. I work at Davidson High School on Sydney's Northern Beaches. Just going into my 9th year of teaching here, and I teach English to years 7 to 12. At the heart of project-based learning, it's about creating better and more thoughtful young people, and I think that aligns beautifully with the general capabilities, because truly what they are about is creating young people who leave the school system who are prepared for their life. So in 2009, the digital education revolution was introduced into our school and many schools around the country. The introduction of a laptop into the classroom I was excited by, and it really made me rethink pedagogy, because I couldn't be at the front of the classroom anymore. And that's how I came across project-based learning, because it was a pedagogy that was no longer teacher-centred, it was student-centred, that it was about high engagement and authentic learning and giving the students an audience outside of the four walls of the classroom, and that really excited me. Project-based learning for me means that the students are in control of their learning, and it's shorter. The assessment happens all along the way, and they're doing some self and peer assessment as well along the way. So it actually facilitates all of these great things about learning that research has told us students need to be doing. Most teachers are living in a square room with 30 tables and chairs. So what I like to do is I like to use a sort of metaphor for space. So we've got the campfire, the cave and the waterhole, and the kids know that each one of those metaphors stands for a particular space, but also a particular way of learning. So I think what it comes to is talking to your students about learning spaces, actually like openly discussing with them that the physical space actually impacts on the mental space and the learning.
I have this really cool app on my phone, and it's Mirrorgram, and it like mirrors the photo. I was thinking maybe we could do one of those ones.
Yeah.
But I don't know for what stanza, that's the thing.
We do use a lot of technology, but I'm really comfortable with the students using mobile technologies. You know, if they've got Google in their pocket, they've got an iPhone and they've got a video camera in their pocket, they've got a still camera, and they've got all these wonderful apps, then I really encourage my students to use those while they're in the classroom to actually, help their collaboration, help their research, help their designing and refining of their products, and then finally accessing an audience online. In terms of my own professional development and my growth as an educator, I actually think that I'm a little bit more 21st century in that way, that I connect with my peers online, so my colleagues. I have a professional dialogue every night via Twitter and Edmodo and other online social media sources like that. So I think that that's really exciting, because it means that the world for an educator is opened up, and no longer is professional development so contextual. We don't have to wait for our region or our state to deliver the professional development that they deem is required. We can actually have really personalised professional development experiences online.
I guess one of the greatest challenges will be how we're going to grow where we are now to where we might like to be in 10 or 15 years' time. I think one way we'll do it is looking for people within our community of schools or like-minded schools who want to work on the same thing. Schools are very good at, I think, sharing, and we'll be looking, to find partners all over New South Wales, all over Australia, who are wanting to work on the same things as we are. And I think it will be supported by the social media, a whole range of things that we haven't used in previous years.
There's so many skills that the students need to develop in order to be really great self-directed learners. It definitely isn't natural for these young people who've really been schooled in an environment where they're passive learners. And what we want is we want active learners. I think there's a bit of a naive assumption about project-based learning that the teacher isn't playing a strong role in the classroom. I often deal with that question, and my response is, my students are my responsibility and their learning is my priority. Therefore, I spend a lot of time actually talking through skills that are necessary for great group work. So we're talking about things like feedback. I spend a lot of time on feedback, and mostly I'm using Jeff Petty's Goals, Medals, Missions that he developed in response to Hattie's research, and that's been really successful because it gives the students a meta language, so they feel really confident with that. I think that that's something that teachers need to be much more confident with, is emboldening their young people with a meta language to talk about their learning. So thinking about their thinking. And really the beginning of the year is crazy because you feel like you're not getting through much content, because really these students are unlearning some passive learning techniques that aren't helpful for them, and they're relearning, these new skills that are important for them to be able to direct their learning forever.